There we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another week of the iTeraCare product presentation. Once again, I'm stepping in for Mr. Nathan. Good more earning for everyone out there for who are just waking up. Hi, everybody. It's so nice to see all of you here in the chat. Please do let me know in the chat where you're dialing in from, what time it is over there, how things are like. I love that we have a very good audience tonight, and I hope tonight to not only be presenting you similar material that I've shared last week, but also, if I may, to add on to some more of that. And if you missed my product presentation last week, you can find it on YouTube. Hello, Granny F8 from Manila and Samuel from Ghana. Iron Man from the Philippines, from Mindanao, William from West Michigan, and Carolyn from Cameroon, Junlin from the Philippines, Belle from the Philippines as well. So nice to see all of you here. It is so lovely to be joined by all of you. And Mr. Nurhan from Malaysia. Hello, Mr. Nurhan. Hi, Elena. Good more earnings to all of us. So, one of the things that I would like to express, Tonia from Barbados, and engineer Charles Vermont from Manila, Philippines. It is 8 p.m. in the Philippines. It is 8 p.m. in Malaysia right now. Mei Lang from Malaysia. Hello. I love this, guys. I love the fact that, I mean, think about this, right? Prive International as a company began in September 2021, right smack in the middle of COVID, during all the lockdowns that were happening in Malaysia. But most people who would have taken the lockdown as a difficult time to start a direct selling business where you need to meet people, but instead, Prive International took that as a challenge, went online, and found so many people around the world who have been helped tremendously by the device that Prive International carries. And a proof of that is all the people logging into today's talk from. We may speak different languages, we may have different cultures, different identities, different ways of looking at the world, different healing perspectives, even. But the device works for all of us. All of us are benefited from the iTeraCare. So I hope to today bring up, explain to you with some more clarity on what the product is and how it works. But before I get to my slide, hello, Mr. Okunlola from Nigeria, and of course, Coach Victor Vincent Wong from Prive HQ in Malaysia. I've got some big names watching me today, so I'm pretty excited about that. Tag Team UK, Helen from London with love. It's 12:04 p.m. Must be nice. I'm sure you'll be ready to have a really good lunch after this talk. All right. So without spending more time, but still don't let that stop you from like interacting with me in the chat. I'm just gonna hop right into the slides. And if you have any questions for me, feel free to ask them in the chat. I will be sharing them. I will be answering them as I speak. I am keeping an eye on the chat as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Prive International's iTeraCare product presentation. So, before getting into the iTeraCare, I would like to start off, first of all, with a disclaimer. And the Prive iTeraCare device is not a medical device. It is a certified household equipment. It's certified as being safe to use. It emits no harmful radiation and has labels allowing for international distribution. And yes, in fact, Prive International's iTeraCare devices are now available in 70 countries around the world. And even for those countries in which we don't have a presence, we would still be able to ship you the product from our HQ here in Malaysia. So Prive International is not a medical equipment, and we do not provide medical advice. The manufacturer does not. I do not. I am not a doctor, as most of you know by now. I am I am not a doctor. And in fact, I do not intend to, and this device is not intended to diagnose anything or to be used as to be used in lieu of medical treatments. How this device is a therapeutic device. And as a therapeutic device, it works according to therapeutic principles. And what I'm going to do is walk you through what the therapeutic principles are, how they work, and how so many people around the world have seen such incredible relief from the iTeraCare devices to a point where we have sold more than 1 million units globally. So, how did that happen? Why does it work? Let's walk into that. So, firstly, uh, I'm going to I'm going to not allow people to unmute for now, but we're going to have Q&A later. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, drop it in the chat. So let's get into it. It is something that is understood now that the human body has the capacity to heal itself. The capacity of the human body to heal itself is something that has been relied on before the age of modern medicine. And even medicine in the form that it takes now was not the way it has always been. Medicine, even 100 years ago and 150 years ago, involved a lot of natural practices. Doctors used to prescribe going for a walk in the countryside as part of medication. But that's not the kind of medicine we see now. The kind of medicine we see now relies on synthetic compounds that are designed in a way to have specific effects when interacting with the human body. But as we often see with like medical recalls and a lot of news that comes out about medicine that has had effects that were not seen when the medicine came out, it's still a bit of a hit and miss sometimes. But even before the age of modern medicine, human beings have relied on the human body's natural capacity to heal itself. And when we talk about when we talk about the natural healing capacity of the human body, we have to understand our history as a biological being. And this is something that we have to be aware of because we are soul, spirits, consciousness, vibrations, frequencies inhabiting a biological body that is much, 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 much older than us. The history of this biological body is the history of life itself, and that spans a huge, huge amount of time. What we think of when we think of human civilization starts with the age of agriculture, with the age when people started to settle in certain places. And instead of living out the activities of hunting and gathering, just settling in a single place and farming. And from the amount of produce that they were able to produce from a certain amount of land, that was the basis of all civilization. In fact, the first cities that we know of are Ur, Uruk, and Urai in Mesopotamia. Ur especially became the richest city of its time, largely because it had one thing no one else had, a food surplus. Enough food being produced by the land that not only could they sustain themselves, they could even sell it to other people, kicking off trade across huge distances. This is what we have evolved from in terms of our civilization. But this human body is much older than that. We have been living in tribes for a very long time, and our niche in the animal kingdom is the fact that this human body has the capacity to run extreme distances at not so fast of a rate in a way that can be extended across time. We are some of the best long distance runners on the planet. The human body has that capacity. In fact, that's how we used to hunt big game. We would just not outrun, no human may be able to outrun a particular animal, but humans can cooperate and work together and keep running and running and running and tiring out an animal that they were hunting. The human body is accustomed to constant motion. The human body is not designed to live in a sedentary state, but the human body is designed to keep moving. And in fact, you see that when you look at how the human body functions when given constant motion. When people move, when they extract and contract their muscles, when they move their body, that helps the process of blood flow within the body. When human beings were ancient people, so to speak, when human beings were people who lived in tribes and ran and were active all the time before the invention of a couch. We were born, humans got old and then they died. They could have died from various external reasons, like being hunted by animals, for example, eating poison berries, for example. Uh, Childbirth in the past was something extremely dangerous, and that helps to bring down the average age that people lived. But on a whole, people lived long, full lives until their lives were either brought out by the body reaching its natural end of life at about 100 to 120 years old, or from external factors. But that is not what we see now today in 2023, or even for the past couple generations of people on the planet. That's not how we have seen our experience as having been. Modern people now, they are born, they get old, and then something happens internally. People fall sick, whether they fall sick from parts of their body failing or just cancers and tumors growing, but for various reasons, people fall sick and then they die. And if you look at the world's leading causes of death, we have on the most of it problems that are associated with blockages or inefficiencies in blood flow. And if you look at the top killer for most people from 2019, before we had a pandemic skewing our numbers, the top killer for most people was heart disease. And when the blood flow in your body is blocked for any reasons, then if it is blocked around your heart cells start to die, your heart stops pumping, there is a heart attack. And if your blood flow stops at or near your brain, then your brain cells start to die, and that causes a stroke. So the top two killers are directly caused by complete blockages in blood flow. Now, the biggest problem with that is that the way the human body is designed, this is a very energy intensive body. Each cell in our body needs oxygen and ATP energy. Oxygen is sent all over the body when we breathe in. The capillaries in our lungs absorb the oxygen, plug that into a red blood cell, the hemoglobin the iron in the middle carries a molecule of oxygen, and that constant flow of oxygen being transported by our red blood cells is what keeps every single cell in our body alive. And without that constant flow of oxygen, cells die. If there's a complete block in or around your heart, it's a heart attack. If there's a complete block in or at your brain, it's a stroke. And the thing with most people is that the biggest reason behind a lot of ill health that we see now is not actually caused by people having full blocks. The lifestyle that we live, our lack of motion in our daily lives, the sedentary way that we live, from sitting at home to sitting in a car to sitting at work to sitting in a car and sitting at the dining table and sitting and lying down in our beds after that, the lack of blood flow that is caused by that, and at the same time, the food that we eat, the cholesterol, the medium and long chain triglycerides in the fat in the food that we eat wrapping around the red blood cells, either lumping them up together or clumping up at the edges of your blood vessels, helping to slow and eventually block the flow of blood, or the sugars in the food that we eat that are causing so think about diabetes, right? Think about diabetes as an example. Diabetes is a disease that all of us are very aware of. And diabetes type 2, at least. How does diabetes type 2 happen? It happens because our pancreas, which is supposed to be the organ that excretes insulin, and the insulin is what we need to process the sugar in the food that we eat and remove it from our blood and just send it around the body. Obviously, a very simplified version. But what happens to a lot of people is that as their pancreas stops being capable of producing as much insulin as their body needs, there's excess sugar in the blood, and that is causing the red blood cells to stick together. Thus colloquially, what we call as your blood getting thick if you have diabetes. And as a result, the sugars in our body just accumulating in our blood. What I'm saying is that even a disease like diabetes type 2, which is caused by our pancreas not functioning as well as it should, only leads to negative health effects when that is unchecked. And as a result, our blood flow is inefficient. We're not able to transport oxygen all over our body. So the idea is that the natural healing force within each one of us is the greatest force in getting well, and that the body has the capacity to heal itself, are all based around the idea of improving blood flow all over the body. And this was accomplished in the past, not through modern medicine, but through different therapeutic modalities or energy or plants. Healers of the past were as much energy healers as they were, doctors of their time. They used different forms of energy healing, distant healing, plants, drumming, rhythmic rhythmic sounds, even dancing, movement, vibration, frequency. These were the methodologies used to heal or to improve the condition of the human body when it was needed. And if you look at each of it closer, whether you look at a therapeutic modality like qigong or yoga or exercise or running, anything that involves movement of the body, to even something like reflexology and massage, which is based on improving blood flow by directly stimulating the skin, or even in terms of acupuncture, which is designed to improve blood flow by directly stimulating those specific acupuncture points in your body. All forms of all forms of healing modalities used in the past were all based on improving the blood flow in the body. And improving blood flow in the body could be described from various different perspectives, right? You can look at it from an Ayurvedic perspective. You can look at it from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective. You can even look at it from the process of doctors in the past who used to prescribe walks in the countryside as part of medication. All of these were activities or things designed to get the blood flowing. And the impact of improved blood flow and increased availability of oxygen in accelerating the healing or the improvement in health within the human body is something that is not only believed in but also documented. And this is just the first paper I found when I googled oxygen and body healing, and this came out of 1990. So these are ideas that have been accepted, that the human body has the capacity to heal itself. Healing itself is related to the amount of oxygen being available to all of the body, so all of the cells in our body can use that oxygen and continue to live their purpose. So that was what was healing, medicine, therapy, and it's now considered therapy. And in the past, even though people used different terminologies to describe their actions, they all had the same result. They had the result of improving the blood flow in the body. And now what we are looking at is ways to do that using technology. So looking at technology that involves having a bit of a deeper understanding into the human body and how it works. And not only the human body, but also the nature of reality itself. So I mentioned this last week, and it's a bit of a joke for me that there was a time in my life as an aerospace engineer, as a person who had a very materialist view on the world. Statements like everything is energy, I've always considered to be metaphysics. That is something that is not true, for lack of a better word. But over the last decade, I have proven myself wrong many, many, many times. Everything is energy. And that can be seen in our fundamental understanding of the nature of the universe. Even going back to like Albert Einstein, who came up with the equation of E equals mc squared, which fundamentally translates to energy being equal to mass accelerated to the speed of light. And that reversed is obviously energy that has been slowed down from the speed of light equals mass. Everything that we are around us is anything that we see as solid objects is just a different form of energy. Or even looking at it from a different perspective, just taking like a magnifying glass or taking a microscope and looking deeper and deeper and deeper into the nature of atoms itself, where we came from a very like pie style Rutherford like understanding of what an atom is as solid things into what we now understand to be just fuzzy little fuzzy little things without any clear definition, as we have like the protons and the neutron in the middle and electrons occupying various different places around it, atoms that are constantly moving and vibrating. Even the surface of something solid that we see, look down close enough, is just something that is vibrating. Temperature being a function of the rate of vibration of any atom. Or even taking it one step, and I'm not going to get too theoretical physics on this, but it's an idea I'm exploring. And even to the best of our understanding of what reality itself is, if you look at string theory and other ideas that sound really out there but the math stands, so they're really kind of validated in how, in as an understanding of the world, string theory describes everything that exists as just vibrations on a string. There is nothing that is real, and we all live in a probability field that is just vibrations on a string in multiple dimensions. These ideas used to, at one point, to me, sound absolutely bonkers. But that's where we are, even in our best understanding of science and the world. Energy is fundamentally the building block of matter. And as biological creatures made of matter, we are energy beings. You can measure the energy, you can measure frequencies put out by our brains, you can measure energies of the human body, and whether you describe this from modern perspectives, as what I'm trying to do, or you take the same idea and you describe it as like meridian, chi flow, or like chakra points in the body. However you describe it, this idea also is not new, but it is an idea that used to be rejected by Western science, but today is surprisingly very accepted, or maybe unsurprisingly. It is a solid idea that the human body is an energy field and we are energy beings, and therefore our energy can be changed and manipulated, and that effect can have a larger effect on the human body. Everything is vibrating. And the first study of energy and vibration and frequencies came from the musicians, because they were people who were really exploring how different frequencies and different sounds that they create can have different effects on people when they listen to it. And one of the first things that we found, or rather, one of the first cool things that we found about frequency, is that specific frequencies can encode information that we cannot see. And just because we cannot see it, it doesn't mean that the impact is not there. It just means that we don't know how to see it properly. A Chladni plate like this is a device that uses salt or sand put above a plate that is vibrating at a specific frequency, and this reveals shapes that are encoded within each frequency. And this is not something that we can see. And going from that to more new understandings, here's one where we found where PEMF increases cellular growth and gene proliferation. And PEMF is something that the Bio and the BioLite, two other products that Pride Carries put out, but I'm not here to talk about those products. But this is just the modern exploration of the effects that frequency and vibration and electromagnetic fields can have on the human biology. And there are many different videos online that we can see. This is one that I recommend all of you go watch. Just Google for Dr. Anthony Holland, 11th harmonic. So this is a video that talks about, I'm going to mute it and play it so I can talk over it. And you guys should definitely go online and watch it. This is a video that talks about how there has been research that's found that certain cancer cells shatter or denature themselves when exposed to certain specific frequencies. And this video goes deeper into it. But other research looking at the effect of Other types of frequencies on the human body include this one by the Institute of Cancer Research in London that looks at sound waves being used to heat treat cancer pain. And this one is from 7 years ago, so about from 2015, I would say. Uh, and all of these kind of link back into the idea that Nikola Tesla had that the secrets of the universe can be found in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And this is something that he has used to amazing effect. This is something that many energy healers and sound healers and those who have experienced like sound bowls and sound baths know that frequencies can have an effect on the world at large and on ourselves in the human body. And another concept that I want to introduce here really quick is the concept of resonant vibration. So what resonant vibration is, and this is a video that I'm sure a lot of you have seen in one or other form. There are many videos like this online. The idea is very simple. These two things that you see here are tuning forks, and tuning forks are tuned to specific frequencies. So when you take a tuning fork, that when you take two tuning forks, put them close to each other, and they're both tuned to different frequencies, when you hit one, it is vibrating. And the vibration of that is vibrating the air molecules around it. There is kinetic energy that is being sent out from hitting a tuning fork. But because the other tuning fork is tuned at a different frequency, it is not able to make use of that energy. The air around it is still vibrating. But when you hit a tuning fork that's tuned to the same frequency, then the other tuning fork is able to you make use of that energy. So we are able to send energy using the same frequency in what is known as using the same resonant frequency. And as I mentioned earlier, what we have here in Prive International and the reason for the incredible success of our device is the fact that the Prive iTeraCare device is a handheld terahertz emitter. And with this, we are now making the claim that terahertz frequency is in fact the resonant frequency of human cells, that the human body resonates to terahertz frequency. Bold claims require some evidence, and in trying to understand the nature of how this works, I've gone back and did some research and I've looked at a few papers. And one of the first ideas that I looked at is the fact that the human body is capable, like from earlier when I mentioned that the human body is an energy field, what that also implies that the human body is capable of having an energy level that can be measured externally. So every cell in our body is a battery through this concept of cellular voltage. And I urge all of you to go out there and Google cellular voltage and read more about it. And what cellular voltage essentially means is that in the same way that batteries are able to generate a certain amount of charge or voltage through the different ionic environments within a battery cell and outside it, in the same way, the different ionic environments within our cells and outside it help to create a voltage that can be measured externally by the human body from the human body. So each cell in our body acts as a battery, and the charge that we carry, the cellular voltage that we have, it corresponds in many ways to the human body's experience at the time, our physiological state, as it were. So if you are either feeling unhealthy or feeling in a low vibrational state where you just feel like nothing's going right, you look at the world from a very negative perspective, then correspondingly by measuring your cellular voltage, you would find that it is low. And when you're feeling good, you'll find that your cellular voltage is high. And in animals like salamanders that can regrow their limbs, higher cellular voltage corresponds to increased capacity of the salamander to regrow limbs that it has lost. That is an idea. So the vibrations in each cell can be measured in terms of the energy level of each cell, and that can increase and decrease. And as energy is essentially vibration, that does directly translate to the vibrational level of each cell. And looking deeper into the impacts that terahertz frequency has on the human body, the first research into terahertz frequency, the first use of terahertz frequency came from airport scanners and like imaging applications. The research into the biological impact of terahertz frequency was started in China by leading Chinese universities and researchers in the mid 2010s. And this is a paper that came out of 2019 from Xinjiang Medical College and Yangtze University in Wuhan, China, that the first sentence of chapter 2 that I'm reading here, in terms of the terahertz influence on biomolecules, the vibrational level of many biomolecules such as sugars, proteins, DNA, RNA are in the range of the terahertz waveband. So this is research that is pointing into how the human body is actually within the range of the terahertz waveband. And looking deeper, this is another paper I found on PubMed that looks at a review of feasible applications of terahertz waves in medical diagnostics and treatments. And this is a review paper, so they review other papers written on the subject. And as part of that, the first review includes the currently practiced diagnostic use of terahertz frequency, which is using it to diagnose various cancers, biomolecules, genetic mutations, burn depth, etc. But also looks at embracing the use of terahertz therapy in reducing tumor size, treating skin cancer, healing burn wounds, cardiovascular disease, etc. And at this point, I just want to emphasize that I have not yet started talking about the Prive iTeraCare device, nor do the people who wrote this paper, I'm sure they don't know that Prive exists. But this is research that is purely looking at the impact that terahertz frequency has on the human body. And looking at more research, this one came out of the military medical research paper, where they state that the rotation and vibrational energy levels of biomacromolecules fall in the energy range of terahertz waves. And so on and on. There's a lot of research coming out. This one from 2021 that looked at terahertz modulated infrared radiation for the complex treatment of patients post ischemic stroke, this paper that looks at terahertz radiation and the skin, and further and further. This one from 2017 that looks at recent advances in terahertz technology for biomedical application. And I just want to share a couple more slides that I have got from someone else, where this one also looks at more papers that they've been able to find. And I found this very interesting because this not only goes into the recent advances of bioeffects of terahertz neuromodulation and advances in terahertz technology. It also looks at the terahertz technology market, which I suppose is what we are in, with a value of USD 0.6 billion in 2022, which is projected to reach 1.2 billion by 2027. And also just more and more and more and more and more and more papers looking at terahertz therapy and advances of terahertz technology in neuroscience. Like I said, this is a field that is just, I would say, on the very forefronts of research into the human body. All the papers that you see are all from the recent past. So coming back to our company, our device, and the reason why you're all here in the first place, Prive's iTeraCare device. Like I said, what this is not a medical device. This is not a device that is designed to diagnose or treat specific illnesses in the human body. But instead, here's what we found. Since all forms of ancient healing relied on improving the human body's blood flow, whether through massage or physical movement or heat therapy or any kind of therapy like that, all forms of ancient healing have involved improving the blood flow, which we have now found to be because when you improve the blood flow in the human body, all the cells in the human body get the right amount of oxygen that they need. The blood flow means improved blood flow means improved cell oxygenation, and that is what keeps all of your cells alive and healthy. And when we start having a lack of proper blood flow, so to speak, a slowdown of our blood flow due to lifestyle reasons of being sedentary, or due to lifestyle reasons like the food that we eat, from the cholesterol and the sugars in our food. For whatever reason that we are not living the life that we used to live in the past, our blood flow is no longer as vibrant, as active as it used to be in our more natural past. And as a result, that slowed blood flow is what is the leading cause of most diseases. And past therapies have used physical motion, but now in 2023, starting from 2021, we have found that the human body as an energy field has a cellular voltage, a vibrational level that can be measured and manipulated. And as we are now finding that the terahertz frequency is the natural frequency of the human body, we are capable using the concept of resonant frequency to transfer energy into our body by using a terahertz emitter, a handheld one like the iTeraCare, and our body being a terahertz receiver. The energy being sent out is absorbed by the human body, and that energy is directly used to increase the cellular voltage or the vibrational levels of the cells in our body, which breaks apart all the red blood cells that are stuck together and improves the blood flow. And through the improvement of the blood flow in our body, that is the fundamental cause behind all of the effects that people around the world are seeing from the iTeraCare. So what we have here is a handheld technology, is a handheld technology that is capable of using that technology, the terahertz frequency emitted by the device, in order to improve our blood flow. But that's not only it, because today I had a very long conversation with someone who was talking to me, to Mr. John Scavola, actually from the US, was talking to me a lot about the scalar energies being outputted by the device as well. So I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But I hope that makes the disclaimer very clear. We are not a medical device because we are not intended to treat any specific diseases. Instead, what we have is a handheld way, this in a very similar way that you can now use a torchlight to generate light. You can now use a device, flick a switch, and use the frequencies emitted from the device to improve our blood flow. And terahertz frequency is specifically being chosen because it is not only the resonant frequency of our human body, but it is also non-ionizing. It does not damage our cells. It can penetrate through anything like clothing, paper, plastic, and glass, and is absorbed by water. And this device incorporates three core technologies. That is the terahertz frequency that it emits, regulated through the optical quartz, and also quantum scalar energy. And this is something interesting that I've never really spoken about, but I spent quite some time thinking about it. And I want to see if I can present the idea of the additional effect that that this device has, a core technology in our device that maybe isn't spoken about as much because maybe the understanding behind it might still be a bit not that clear. Uh, so here's my best understanding of quantum energy. So recently in a call, I heard that the best way to accelerate healing while using the device is to smile when you're using it. And I thought about that. I mean, here's what we know about neurobiology, right? Like, we know, for example, that the human brain has a lot of neurons that we call mirror neurons that are wired directly into our eyes and don't go through the filter that don't go through our default mode network and the filters of our beliefs and perception or our consciousness, but feed directly into parts of the brain, into the hypothalamus, into the parts of the brain that decide your core emotional state. And what that means is that these mirror neurons are so named because when you look at an angry face, you kind of feel anxious. When you look at a sad face, you kind of feel sad. This empathy is a common experience amongst most, if not all, human beings, most definitely, if not all human beings. But the biological way in which it works is that we have the biological capacity built within our brains, wired directly into our eyes to detect the emotional state of the world around us, of the people around us, and to translate that into a sensation that, because it does not pass through our conscious brains, we're not able to put that into words. But anyone who has seen a person crying and has felt themselves holding back a sob knows what I'm talking about. The human body, the brain is wired to be able to have a sense of empathy. But it doesn't go, but that's not it. Our capacity to detect our emotional states, other people's emotional states. And also, for example, this is maybe a fun thing that most of you may know. We have whites around the blacks of our eyes because that allows us to see from far away which way an eye is pointing. And our eyes can recognize other human eyes further than we as a conscious being can detect. Like, you know, when someone's staring at you, you have a gut feeling. These are all things that are happening without you being able to put it into words because it doesn't pass through your conscious brain, but instead are things wired directly into your brain that is translated as a feeling. So the human brain does not know the difference between active motion and imaginary motion. When you sleep, when you dream that you're running, the parts of your brain that are active when you are running are lighting up, but the signal is being suppressed, so you don't actually run while you're sleeping. Your brain doesn't know the difference between an imagined reality and lived reality. It actually does not. In an fMRI, it does not. You, as a conscious brain, are able to sense the difference sometimes, but we've all woken up from dreams that felt so real. And where I'm getting at with all of this is that our understanding of how this works isn't complete. And when we have a smile on our face, 10 years ago or 20 years ago, I learned that if you're depressed, just force a smile on your face for like 20 minutes. And eventually your brain will think, oh, I'm smiling. I guess I have something to smile about, and release neurotransmitters that make you happy. When you smile, when you are using this device, you are essentially telling your brain that things are good, and your brain will actively release neurotransmitters that reinforce the idea. If you're upset, if you use this device when you tell yourself, oh, like, this is not going to work, I'm so sad, I'm so upset, what you're doing is that you are creating a feedback loop within your thought process and the ability of your brain beyond your thought process to detect emotional states. You're creating a feedback loop within which your brain can release neurotransmitters that suppress your healing. So ancient healers knew this. That's why there's a lot of this core belief that what you have to believe in your own healing. And that's why Nathan spoke about in one of his most memorable talks for me, when he spoke about when you use this device and you're actively saying you're going to be healed, you're inputting that positive message. And this kind of affirmations may sound odd to those who are not used to the language being used, but I tend to look at it as just a variation of prayer. Prayer is us putting out something that we want, and I always say that the first years that hear our words are our own years, and whatever we say and whatever we do and whatever we think creates a feedback loop around us. And as terahertz frequency is able to modulate the energy levels of our body, and as we are energy beings that also produce energy and produce frequency, using this device, the quantum scalar energy that is being described is something that is directly related to our headspace, to how we perceive the world, to the effects that, I mean, even in terms of this, like, why do they have double blind testing when they're introducing new medication? They have double blind testing because if someone knows that they're getting medication, there's a chance that whatever they're taking could work, despite that not being the actual medication. A lot of this is what that is describing, which is how I was, which is how I've come to understood the impact of the quantum scalar energy being used in our device. Because a terahertz emitter is just a terahertz emitter, but a terahertz emitter with a built-in quantum scalar concept and idea and energy that is able to energize our cells and energize our being and energize our headspace, even though energize may not be the correct technical term for the impact that it is having, it is at the very least a description of the effect that this has in our world and as we use it in our physical biological beings. That's why a lot of people, as they use the device along with various improvements in their conditions, along with various relief from various discomforts, they also do report an increased state of mind, a higher vibration state of mind, good vibes, if you'd like. And that is my understanding on how all of this works together to create, honestly, the kind of effects that the world has not seen before Price International. And these are effects, and this is just a graphic of cellular voltage. It looks pretty, but you guys get the idea. Bad stress, bad diet stress rate, radiation. And also, this is also old ideas about how heating the bones can help heal diseases. And that is something that we have now seen as when you stimulate your spinal cord that is connected to all parts of your body. And when you use the terahertz frequency to stimulate that, that helps to release undifferentiated cells in your body, your stem cells that that are then differentiated to create the different cells that make up all the organs and systems in your body. And as I was talking about earlier with scalar energy and chakra points and using the device on your body in that way, you can see the difference by looking at it from a energy alignment Kirlian camera that looks at energy centers in the body. You can also measure the effect of the device from biology. And one of the biggest impacts that this device has had on most people is a relief from discomfort. And discomfort can come from various reasons, right? For example, if you live a sedentary life and you don't move around as much, and because you don't move around as much, your muscles don't get the kind of movement, the oxygen to rebuild new muscle fibers, etc. Your muscles get weaker. And we know this from people who are just in bed rest for a long amount of time. Their body essentially turns into jelly. And when you start to lose your muscles, you start to lose your body's capacity to support itself. And what happens if you've just been sedentary for 4 years is that you end up like this lady having severe pain in your legs and in your back. And the effect of this device, when used correctly, I've often equaled it to one time. I've often equaled one-time therapeutic use of this device, that is 20 to 30 minutes of using this device on your body, to just being equal to about an hour of jogging or walking, to an hour of physical motion, to an hour of going to the gym and walking on the treadmill. And the biggest difference that this device will make is for all of those people who, despite knowing that they should be going and moving their body, are not able to. Like this lady, imagine asking her to go for a walk or a run an hour a day, twice a day at this condition. But what can happen is that even people like this can now use an external device to improve the blood flow in their bodies And that has the same effect of like improving the blood flow, improving the oxygen flow, helping your body to rebuild muscle fibers, helping your body with all of the undifferentiated cells that are being released, to help your body release all kinds of new cells in your body. And it's not like this lady can go walk, can go for a marathon now. It's only been 10 days. But after 10 days of consistently using this device, she has been able to gain enough muscle strength and live with and have a significant reduction in her discomfort that she's now able to walk without external support. It is an improvement in her quality of life. And of course, if you give a device that improves blood flow to someone who has problems with their blood flow, therefore, that's why they had a stroke, right? Because they had a blockage in their blood flow in their brain. If you give a device to someone who has a block in their blood flow, of course, they're going to find faster improvements in their condition. But the thing is, this person post-stroke would also have benefited from going for a walk. And in fact, physiotherapy that most post-stroke patients are asked to go through involves someone physically manipulating and moving their body in order to stimulate motion and to improve blood flow. But now we can achieve that same effect with a device. Similarly, with this person who has ascites disease and renal immune disorder, the key takeaway for me from this video is that had she got like she has fluid accumulating in her abdomen, right? That's why she looks like that. And had she gone to a doctor, the doctor would have had to make a cut through her skin in order to drain the fluids. But by improving her blood flow after a few therapies, after 7 weeks, 49 days of using this device twice a day, half an hour each time, consistently, her body with that improved amount of like oxygen and blood flow has been able to get itself to such a point where it is able to take care of itself and start ejecting all the accumulated fluid through her belly button naturally. And to me, that is a sign that that removal of accumulated fluid is happening from a natural process within her body, as opposed to an external cut in her skin from external treatments. This to me is the single best example of the thing I started our slides with, that the human body has a natural healing capacity that most of us are no longer trained in using, that relies on blood flow, that in the past required people to go into like massage or acupuncture or physical movement or things that could be unattainable by those with more serious conditions like this. Like imagine asking her to do yoga or like to go qigong or to like to go for a run for twice a day. But now with technology, we can use a device that can improve the blood flow in her body. Okay, so another example, and I'm going to work through this a little bit quickly. I understand that I've spoken a bit too long in the beginning, but I really like establishing why the device works. Because honestly, if you guys want to see testimonials, don't believe the few that I show you. YouTube it, Google it, TikTok it, if you have TikTok in your country, or if you're a TikTok kid, TikTok it, IG it, search for it. We have the hashtag iTeraCare testimonial has, I believe, 71 or 72 million views on TikTok. And all of those are just individual videos tagged, 70 million individual videos tagged on TikTok, and similarly in YouTube and all of that. So if you want more testimonials, go look for them. I'm just going to walk through the few I have to kind of put across my point, which is, if you have a broken knee, you're not going to be able to walk. You're not going to be able to run. In fact, you may be like this guy was, bedridden for the better part of 2 years because it hurts to walk. But this person can now, in a in a way that is a lot less discomfort than he would have faced had he forced himself to physically move his body, this person can now use a device to externally stimulate his blood flow, and 14 days of doing that, he is able to go out for the first time with his family. And look, he's still in a wheelchair. He can't go run a marathon. He can't even jog or walk, probably. That broken knee still needs to be dealt with. But he is living in reduced discomfort, significantly reduced discomfort, and he's able to live a much improved quality of life. And that's because you can now stimulate blood flow by using technology. Walking through other examples, regardless of how your body has started to fail you, improving your blood flow means a general improvement in the condition of your body. Even if you have, like this guy, a COVID vaccine injury. And I have met more than a couple of people who have had significant discomforts caused post vaccine and have found significant and tremendous relief through the improvement of blood flow caused by the iTeraCare device. From young people, like this 3-year-old girl who had meningitis. And this is not a claim that the iTeraCare cures meningitis. That's not what I'm saying. But even a 3-year-old girl with meningitis could see faster improvements in her health condition by using the iTeraCare device to externally stimulate her blood flow when she is hospitalized, right up to really old people who, no matter how old you are, your body still needs blood flow. And when you get your blood flowing, your brain releases endorphins and neurotransmitters that will cause you to have a shift in the physiological state that you're in, from just being laid out to being a little bit active. She can't go run a marathon, but she can use the device and improve her blood flow. And if I may switch a little bit to this other slide I had that had a couple other cool testimonials I wanted to show you guys. Okay, just making sure I'm sharing the right one. Yes, I am. Okay, let me skip. So these are some of the effects that we have seen like worldwide in terms of improving the condition of our health for various people, even those with like skin conditions, that usually we have a skin condition, improving the blood flow at or around your skin by scratching it or doing something like that helps bring relief, but scratching it often makes it worse. But using a device to externally improve your blood flow seems to have so many different effects, from varicose veins to skin conditions. And like all testimonials are individual anecdotes, right? All testimonials are not a claim that this device can cause this, but all testimonials are each individual person's proof, each individual person's anecdotal experience that by using this device, they have found these types of relief. And judging by the huge number of similar testimonials we have, you should take that into account and try it on yourself. As long as you do it consistently, you may see effects that you would be happy with. From this person who reported increased hair color and growth before and after using the device, this other person who reported a bone cartilage regrowth after 6 weeks of using the device. We've already seen this, we've already seen this, we've already seen this, we've already seen this. I've skipped through this, but also for beauty, but this is the one that I wanted to show you. This I thought was very cool. This is also a real person's real lived experience who has been paralyzed and unable to move her legs. By using the device as a form of treatment twice a day consistently, has seen remarkable improvements in being able to lift and gently move her legs after 8 days of using this device consistently. And after 53 days of now being able to start start walking and start moving, after using this device to externally improve her blood flow after 53 days of using it. Would she have seen the same kind of benefit had she forced herself to go to physiotherapy where they strap her legs to a walking machine and stimulate her running for an hour a day, twice, for an hour each time, twice a day? Uh, Probably. Does everyone have equal opportunities to that level of treatment? No. But do, does having a device that can do that, that can be plugged in and unplugged and moved to a different person's house and used on them and used over and over and over again in a day, can that help with that? Absolutely. And that is what we are seeing right now. This is another individual lived experience. And by the way, for everyone who wants the recording, this will be up on YouTube, by the way. Don't worry about it. You'll get the link. Uh, this is another individual person's anecdotal lived experience that this person from Hyderabad who was given this device actually by his doctor who had an issue with his kidneys and could see a measurable difference in his personal creatine levels. And this person who has been undergoing dialysis 3 times a week and is now capable of urinating 3 times a day. And again, I would like to make clear that this is this person's individual lived experience. Everyone's condition is different. Everyone's effects and results are going to be different. However, consistent use of the iTeraCare device can have all of these effects. This is another example where this lady, 93-year-old lady with severe osteoporosis, which means that moving hurts. Moving hurts. Moving your bones hurt. And you're 93 years old, like you don't want to spend your golden years not moving in bed because it hurts, right? At this point is when most people start going into external most people start getting external discomfort management tools from their doctor, like medication to control their pain. But what the iTeraCare does is that it helps to manage your discomfort in your body by externally stimulating your blood flow. And now this lady, by using this blower twice a day, she's now able to like cycle on the track and lift her legs with ease. And look, she's 92, but you know, if we're 92, I would like to be able to move when I'm 92. That and if using an external device to stimulate my blood flow helps with that, I want that. This is what we mean when we talk about the future of healing is frequency. These are more individual lived examples, especially of people who have been using the iTeraCare device and measuring and making their own measurements. There are more people who have found that it has helped with their weight management. These are all individual lived examples. And obviously, if you use the device, but you continue to eat more calories than you burn out, then you're not going to lose weight. The body is still mechanical in that way. But with calorie management and with the iTeraCare to assist in improving your blood flow, then it can really help with the management of how you physically look. And more examples from people who have Alzheimer's disease, being agitated and then getting into a relaxed state of self post using the device. This person who has her individual experience of having a facial deformity and the muscles relaxing after using the device. People who are then able to share their testimonies publicly and allowing us to share their testimonials by, just because they're so impressed by how the device has worked for them. And you see more testimonials like this, people with problems with their eyes, this individual person who has found who has the personal anecdotal experience of her personal discomfort being relieved with from her breast cancer, and also finding that her lump size is reduced. And again, clarifying that this is her personal, individual lived experience, but this is an experience, a personal story shared by a user of our company. Frozen shoulders, muscle pain before and after using the device, etc., using it on animals as well. In fact, any creature with blood flow. There are acupuncture doctors who have incorporated using this device into their acupuncture treatments as well, and so on. You guys get the idea. I am very sure of that by now. And as we are running close to, I have actually already gone past my time. I'm not going to impose on you guys much longer. But going deeper into this, you have the iTeraCare, using it for skin, because one more thing I want to point out, one more idea that I have, uh, how to use this device. So there are different perspectives that I've heard, but today John Scavola gave me the best analogy that I've ever heard to understand this, and I'm going to share this with all of you. If you're living a sedentary life, if you're a big guy, I'm a big guy. If you're a big guy and you're not active and you want to start getting active, just moving helps. Just going for a walk for 5 minutes helps. Just walking rather than not walking helps. Just even if you don't run, just like going to the gym for a couple minutes help. And in the same way, if your blood flow is not well, any way you use the device is going to help. Whether you do the 10 points religiously, or if you just take the device and you go start from top to bottom. If you take the device and you use it from just top to bottom casually, it helps. If you just like blow your hand, the palms of your hand and the soles of your feet, it helps. Anything is better than nothing. And if you've been sedentary and you're not an active person, any improvement of your blood flow is better than no improvement of your blood flow. So if things like the 10 points and any therapeutic methods of using it is discouraging for you as a new person, just using it anywhere on your body is going to help, as long as you use it consistently, at least about 20 minutes each time, at least around once or twice a day. However, if you're going to the gym for specific purposes, if you want to build your muscles, if you want to build your core, if you want to strengthen your legs, then you need to work on specific muscle groups to get that specific effect, right? Going to the gym and just doing every kind of weight a machine randomly doesn't help if you have specific goals. If you want to build a bigger chest, you got to work on your chest. If you want to build strong legs, you got to do squats. If you want to have a strong core, you got to do whatever you need to do to build a strong core. I'm not a gym guy, I don't know, but you get the idea. And similarly, with the iTeraCare device, we have different practitioners who talk about different ways of thinking about it. And if you're just starting out and you're just not living an active lifestyle, or if you're just like generally not healthy and you want a quick shortcut way to pick that back up, just focus on using the device consistently twice a day. Even if you just pick it up for 5 minutes after the shower, you want yourself a little bit and you don't do any of the 10 points, that's okay. As long as you use it, and using it is better than not using it, and using it consistently is better than using it sporadically, and using it twice a day is better than using it once a day. Now, if you have specific things that you want to work on, that's when you start going into the meridian points and the specific points that you need to focus on. That's why when you talk about the iTeraCare, there's always like different schools of thought. If the practitioner comes from a traditional Chinese medicine background, then they're going to be telling you, okay, to work on this point, to fix this, work on that point, to get to this, use it there. But that is for people with specific issues that they want to address. For anyone starting out, the 10-point protocol is a good place to start, and I'm going to get to that in a bit, just a little bit. I'm going to show you what that is. But even if that is a bit too too steep of a hill to climb as you start to use this device, just use it anywhere on your body. Put a smile on your face when you use it, because that actually helps a lot. Again, that is something that 20-year-old Mugi, 20-year-old rocket scientist Mugi, who believed he knew everything about the world, because all 20-year-olds believe they know everything about the world. I would have laughed if I could hear me talk about that, but that is true. It is true from the understanding of neurobiology. It is true from the understanding of energy, that you can impact the parts of your brain that are activated by just reversing the cause and effect, by smiling first on a physical level and just holding it, and then your brain just going, oh, I guess we're smiling, I guess we're feeling good now. Smile when you use the device, use it consistently, just use it. And as you want to get into specific parts of your body that you want to work on, then you can go into the more advanced protocols. I hope that makes sense to all of you. Anyone can use it, old people can use it, babies can use it. Technology has allowed us to now improve our blood flow with the flick of a button, the same way torchlights help us to create light with a flick of a button. Both things would have sounded crazy to someone 500 years ago, but it's 2023. We may not have flying cars, but we can improve our blood flow with the flick of a button. And of course, skin conditions, we spoke about this, general health. There's a load of testimonials online, on Facebook, on TikTok. We have these three different devices where the main difference between them is in their use case and durability. All three of them have terahertz frequency. All three of them influence scalar energy, and in how your effects can influence your general hit, and how your hit space can influence your general worldview and perception. And all of them incorporate crystals within them to help tune your frequency. The difference is the use case, where the Pro is meant for people who are using it in a therapeutic level. The Classic is the home use, individual, personal use device. And the Premium is just the a home use device that is lighter, quieter, more ergonomic, a premium device. It was invented by this guy, Professor Yang Wing Jun from Deshang Technology, going through multiple super expensive prototypes to just prove the concept of a handheld terahertz emitter, and Prive International having the sole rights to distribute. And as of December 2023, as of this month, Prive International officially partnering with Deshang to ensure our ultimate control over the vertical of manufacturing and distribution, to ensure that we have the highest quality product available for everyone, having passed radiation tests, having certificates and patents, uh, electronic certification from both Europe and the US, proving that it is safe to be sold and to be used and to be purchased anywhere in the world. Also being used to charge water through like structuring water, and breaking apart molecular clusters, and using it having equivalent effects of just like high speed therapy. And ending my slides here, the therapeutic way of using it, the 10 point that I've referred to, are just using it on these 10 points of your body. But like I said, even if you don't want to do it in this systematic way, just start from the top to the bottom of your from the top of your body to the bottom of your body, and just use it all over, and experience the effects of improved blood flow. And as Yilan has said, thank you for that, Smiling does release endorphin, it's a natural mood booster, it reduces stress, and it puts you in a higher frequency. Now, energy healers know this. Like you're able to affect someone's health and energy from a remote way. Reiki as a concept wouldn't have existed without the ability to do that. Now we're just taking these ideas and using technology to incorporate them in our lives. Um, and with that, I would like to end my presentation. So thank you to all of you who have tuned in this entire time. I'm open to any questions you guys may have. You guys can pop it in the chat. The YouTube link will be ready in a day or two. You guys can, I'm going to share my WhatsApp and my email address uh, in the chat now, so you guys can hit me up if you have any questions. My name is Mugi. I am over at Prive HQ here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I mostly directly deal with the Malaysian and also the US, Canada, and Mexico markets, but I'm probably able to help you out if you have any questions. This is my WhatsApp number. This is my email. Wait, hang on. Not that. This is my email address. You guys can email me as well. And if I can close out on a thought before we end this meeting, thank you all for very patiently sticking with me as we go 20 minutes over time. I want to talk about what I want to talk about is the fact that to the best of our understanding, we still don't know how a lot of things work. We don't. We actually don't. I mean, as an aerospace engineer, my favorite example is the fact that how you know how planes fly, we don't have a mathematical model to explain why airfoils create lift. What we do is instead we go to a wind tunnel and we experiment with different shapes of airfoil to figure out which one has the most lift. Similarly, our understanding of biology, of neurobiology, of the physical body that we all inhabit is, for all that we have discovered, still in its infancy. It seems like almost every year we're discovering something new. And for the longest time, concepts that we have thought about as not being real, that if you look at like medical writing from like 100 years ago, there was a time when doctors refused to believe that their clean, pristine doctor hands could carry anything like bacteria, and they would go from childbirth to childbirth, leading to increase such a high amount of premature deaths in childbirth. But with improved understanding of the body, we have come to improved understanding of how everything works. There's still so much that we don't understand in a way that we can put into words when it comes to the human body, but we can realize a lot of truth by looking at experiential effects. When we talk about terahertz frequency and we talk about quantum scalar energy, these all work in principles that we kind of have a very deep instinctive understanding of, but may not be able to put into words. Don't let that discourage you. Use it, smile, and feel how your body reacts. And whatever truth that you experience with your body, share that. This is a business entirely built upon sharing your truth. If we did not have so many testimonials from around the world of people just pouring out their individual experience, we may not actually have this faith and this belief in the product. But we have come this far because of people sharing their truth. So experience your truth, understand your truth, and share your truth. And that's all I have to say for today. Thank you all for joining in on my call. If you guys have any questions, you guys can hit me up. I'm happy to be here and answer all your questions. Our thoughts and our beliefs and our worldview has such a huge effect on ourselves, even more than we imagine. So put a smile on your face, be happy, and use the frequency device to raise your frequencies and charge your cells and live in a higher vibration. Look at the person next to you, tell them you love them, give them a hug, appreciate being alive, be happy. For those of you starting your day, start your day with a smile on your face. Even if you don't feel happy, put a smile on your face and hold it for 10 minutes, for 20 minutes. Trust me. Like if you find it hard to hold a smile on your face, and of course this is a moment where I can't find a pen around me, but I saw this a long time ago. If you find it difficult to hold a smile on your face because you just feel so upset, do this. Take a pen, hopefully it's sterile. Literally hold it like that against your face. Force yourself into a smile for 20 minutes, and you'll find your mood picking itself right back up. The human body is such a wonderful, blessed creation, and we are blessed indeed to live here in this life, in this environment, and allow the frequency device to raise your frequency to the next level. With that, thank you for everyone for joining my chat. Thank you for everyone who has unmuted and are smiling. I see you, Eris and Beth. I see you, Angelita. I see you, Marco. I see all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we will get back to this very soon. See you guys, everybody. Happy wanding. Goodbye. Good morning. Good morning or good night, wherever you are.